Exodus chapter 12,
We
and
couldn't
we're
quite figure out where we ended last week. We didn't finish the chapter.
yeah, we kind of ran out of time. I try to get us out of here right on time. Otherwise, Melvin will just walk out on me. Just kidding. Yeah, you gotta get home and get them margaritas. Hey, we don't do that here. like my like my wife says, we're non-denominationals. Oh boy, that's hilarious. All right, would anybody like to open us up in prayer?
I'd be happy to.
All right.
Father, we come before your throne, Lord, boldly and yet with humility, because we know that you are the answer to every question that we would ever have. And Lord, I pray tonight that you'll be with us, especially be with Jason as he opens up your word, Lord, and feeds us your word tonight. Thank you for each one who is here, each one who is online. And Lord, we pray, Father, that what we take away with us tonight, we might put into practice. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. All right. Well, Paul, as y'all know, he's really big on these word of the day things, and he wants everybody to be doing these little books. So grab your book, and so I figured just to highlight that today, I'd start out with today's little devotional, and I'll just read it. You don't have to read it or anything, but it says, "Don't be double-minded." It's like, don't be double-minded and attempt to think in two different ways at the same time. For example, we come to church to get wisdom that is from above. What is that from? And then leave church and get wisdom from below and try to combine them. But it doesn't work. You can't mix unleaded fuel and diesel fuel. I got a story about that, but I don't know. My work people might be online and they might hear me, so I ain't gonna give it. But the moment you do, you have canceled the unleaded because of the diesel. Merely looking like gas does not mean it will help you. As Christians, we attend church on Sunday to get unleaded, and on Monday go into the world and get diesel. Then we wonder why we're wearily laboring. Let's illustrate it this way. We have AM and FM frequencies on our radios. Both different, both separate. When riding in a car, you choose which one to listen to. You can't listen to both at the same time, even though you have both options. The Bible says, if any of you lacks wisdom, let him ask God, who gives to all liberally and without reproach, and it will be given to him. But let him ask in faith with no doubting, for he who doubts is like a wave of the sea, driven and tossed by the wind. For let not the man suppose that he will receive anything from the Lord. He is a double-minded man, unstable in all his ways. God responds to a faith that is a single-minded and focused on his word. So the word for you today is, don't be double-minded. So I like that with the gas. That's why I was reading through it. I was like, I've actually you cannot put diesel in a gas engine. It just will not work. I will inform you. You can't put a little bit of gas in a diesel engine and it'll still make it, but it's not recommended. Just let you know.
Yeah, my daughter went to visit David the Road yesterday. You remember that?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Rosie.
You know, he bought that $65,000-$70,000 Ford diesel pickup and a camper that's over the house.
Yeah, I knew they did. Yeah.
He put gas in that thing.
Oh no. Yeah.
And you realize he was putting gas in that, they put quite a bit in there. So he cut it out, I'd be okay. But they had to, I don't think they put a new engine in, they had to completely rework it.
Yeah. What's all that noise? Ooh, we got some noise going on. Who's ringing? $11,000. Wow. Yeah. Well, them diesel engines. Anything will cost you $1,000, $11,000.
You probably won't want to talk about
He'd probably beat me up.
Oh boy. All right. Well, we're gonna get in here we left off on at verse 16. So it's kind of, you know what? I'm gonna back out. I'll just read straight through this. Just to get us on track. I'm gonna start at the top there at 12. The Lord said to Moses and Aaron in the land of Egypt, this month shall be for you the beginning of months. It shall be the first month of the year for you. Tell all the congregation of Israel that on the 10th day of this month, every man shall take a lamb according to their fathers' houses, a lamb for the household. And if the household is too small for a lamb, then he and his nearest neighbor shall take according to the number of persons, according to what each can eat. You shall make your count for the lamb. Your lamb shall be without blemish, a male a year old. You may take it from the sheep or from the goats, and you shall keep it until the 14th day of the month, when the whole assembly of the congregation of Israel shall kill their lambs at twilight. Okay, so we're verse 7. Then they shall take some of the blood and put it on the two doorposts and the lintel of the houses in which they eat it. They shall eat the flesh that night, roasted on the fire, with unleavened bread and bitter herbs they shall eat it. Do not eat any of it raw or boiled in water, but roasted its head on its legs, its head with its legs and its inner parts. And you shall not let none of it remain until the morning. Anything that remains until the morning you shall burn. In this manner you shall eat it, with your belt fastened, your sandals on your feet, and your staff in your hand. Oh, I need to highlight that. And you shall eat it in haste. It is the Lord's Passover. For I will pass through the land of Egypt that night, and I will strike all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, both man and beast. And on all the gods of Egypt I will execute judgment. I am the Lord. The blood shall be a sign for you, and on the houses where you are, and when I see the blood, I will pass over you, and no plague will befall you to destroy you when I strike the land of Egypt. This day shall be for you a memorial day, and you shall keep it as a feast to the Lord throughout your generations, as a statute forever. You shall keep it as a feast. 7 days you shall eat unleavened bread. On the first day you shall remove leaven out of your houses, as if anyone eats what is leavened from the first day until the 7th day. That person shall be cut off from Israel. And that's where we left off with that dramatic. We will be cut off from Israel if you don't keep this. So God's pretty serious about this. Pretty serious thing, right? So from 16. On the first day you shall hold a holy assembly. And on the 7th day, a holy assembly. No work shall be done on those days, but what everyone needs to eat, that alone may be prepared for you. And you shall observe the feast of unleavened bread, for on this very day I brought your hosts out of the land of Egypt. Therefore you shall observe this day throughout your generations as a statute forever. In the first month, from the 14th day of the month at evening, you shall eat unleavened bread until the 21st day of the month at evening. For 7 days no leaven is to be found in your houses. If anyone eats what is leavened, that person will be cut off from the congregation of Israel. Whether he is a sojourner or a native of the land, you shall eat nothing leavened. In all your dwelling places you shall eat unleavened bread. All right, so anybody want to comment on why the unleavened bread? I mean, we kind of talked about it last time, but what was the whole reasoning behind the unleavened bread?
Well, I know yeast in, but I don't know the reason behind it.
Yeah.
Well, it won't fall.
Well, it's
Oh,
more
I
about the
know.
time.
It'll-
Okay, remember, they're supposed to be eating, like when they got the Passover lamb, they're sitting there eating it, and they're supposed to be with their sandals on, with the staff in their hand, girded, loins girded,
And
belt
ready to
on,
go.
ready to go, right? And the bread, they only have a short amount of time to make it. They don't have time to let the dough rise.
Right, okay.
That's the idea behind it. The God's going to move in a mighty way, and it's going to be quick, and you got to be ready to go, because when I do this, when God does this, and they're going to be ready to kick you out.
Right.
You got to go. All right. So this is this is why the unleavened bread is a big deal. It's the remembrance of that Passover time and them having to leave in a hurry, real quick. So this is all about remembering. And remember, as we went through Genesis and now we're going through Exodus, remembering is a big thing. We're supposed to remember the past, remember what God's done in the past. So when you're going through those hard times now, you can look back and say, in your own personal experiences, or, you can go to the Word of God and say, well, this is what God's done in the past. I know his character. I know who he is because I've read his word, and I can rely on him now and trust him now. That's why these things are set that way, so we can remember. And, especially here, there's specific reasons he wants them to remember and be able to carry this on for another 3,000 years. You know what I mean? So, and all this is going to, be taken on by Jesus, and be even more significant. So they don't even know what all this means completely at this moment. Especially now, because this hasn't happened yet. Remember, this is God just telling him that this is all going to happen. This hasn't even happened yet. He's just telling him all this is going to happen. This is what you're going to say to the people. This is what's going to happen. So he's prophesying what's going to be in the future, in the near future. All right. So 21. Then Moses called all the elders of Israel and said to them, "Go and select lambs for yourselves according to your clans and kill the Passover lamb. Take a bunch of hyssop and dip it in blood that is in the basin, and touch the lintel and the two doorposts with the blood that is in the basin. None of you should go out of the door of his house until the morning, for the Lord will pass through to strike the Egyptians, and when he sees the blood on the lintel and on the two doorposts, the Lord will pass over the door and will not allow the destroyer to enter your houses to strike you. You shall observe this rite as a statute for you and for your sons forever. And when you come to the land that the Lord will give you, and as he has promised, you shall keep this service. And when your children say to you, 'What do you mean by this service?' you shall say, 'It is the sacrifice of the Lord's Passover, for he passed over the houses of the people of Israel in Egypt, when he struck the Egyptians, but spared our houses.' And the people bowed their heads and worshipped. And the people of Israel went and did so, as the Lord had commanded Moses and Aaron. So they did." Okay? So now, it hasn't happened yet. He's just telling them, okay, go do this. And remember, last week we talked about how significant this was, because they had to spend time with this lamb, this little baby lamb, and we went through that whole imagery. And my wife actually watches this too, and she's a big animal person, and she would comment when I got home, so, "We had to talk about all that, all that baby lamb thing." And but it's I want to just impress that upon you about taking this in. Your children are getting to know it. They're going to name it. They're going to be petting it. It's going to go and it's going to be so sweet and pure and awesome, because they're picking the most beautiful, spotless, perfect lamb, and then you're going to have to kill it and put its blood on the doorpost, and you're going to have your family watching and making sure they see the importance of this. It's a pretty gruesome thing. We're going to see a lot more gruesome stuff in Exodus, so get ready for that. It's pretty gruesome. All right, so verse 29. At midnight, the Lord struck down all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, from the firstborn of the Pharaoh who sat on his throne to the firstborn of the captive who was in the dungeon, and all the firstborn of the livestock. And Pharaoh rose up in the night, he and all his servants and all the Egyptians, and there was a great cry in Egypt, for there was not a household where someone was not dead. Then he summoned Moses and Aaron by night and said, "Up, go out from among my people, both you and the people of Israel, and go serve the Lord, as you have said. Take your flocks and your herds, as you have said, and be gone, and bless me also." That's kind of interesting. bless me also. We've seen this this little playing around with salvation that Pharaoh has been going back and forth on, as we saw last week. How he kind of capitulated with Moses a couple times, and he's like kind of asking for forgiveness, but then backing off on it, and going back on his word. He kept on going back and forth, and now he's also on this. He said, "All right, just go. Please get out of here. Do whatever. I don't care. Just get out of here." And then he adds that little tag on here and bless me, and please bless me. Give me your blessing, which is kind of unusual, kind of strange little blessing at the end. And remember, also they've gotten all these gifts and things from the people. They're going to be giving them tons of jewelry and gold and all these gifts to the people of Israel, which will be used in the future. So this is all, there's a purpose behind every single little bitty thing that's going on here that we'll see in the future. All right, so verse 33, the Egyptians were urgent with the people to send them out of the land in haste, for they said, we shall all be dead. So the people took their dough before it was leavened, their kneading bowls being bound up in their cloaks on their shoulders. See that? Before it was leavened, because they had to go. They're being forced out. So you see the significance of that? They've got to go. They don't have time for the bread to rise, right? The people of Israel had also done as Moses told them, for they had asked the Egyptians for silver and gold jewelry and for clothing. And the Lord had given the people favor in the sight of the Egyptians, so that they let them have what they asked. Thus they plundered the Egyptians. So they're walking away rich. They're not walking away empty-handed. And the people of Israel journeyed from Ramses to Succoth, about 600,000 men on foot, besides women and children. A mixed multitude also went up from them, and very much livestock. All right, there's a mixed multitude also went among them. So this isn't just the Jews. This isn't just their family. There's also going to be some people that have turned to God and are leaving also. So it's not just the Hebrews that are leaving. There's others that were saved from this. They probably listened, and because they've seen all this miraculous stuff that God's doing, and they probably painted their doorposts the same way. They're like, okay, we'll do it too. So this is a mixed multitude, label. Yes.
It's been 400 now, because it's farther down on the page.
Yeah.
430 years since Joseph died.
Yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm.
And in that time, another Pharaoh came along that the Israelites didn't have favor with.
Yes. Well, there's been a bunch of
change.
Yeah. That's it's Exodus starts out with that saying, this new Pharaoh had forgotten Joseph. So he'd forgotten all the good things that Joseph did for Egypt. And Egypt was a powerhouse, was a superstar of the world, was the America of the time, basically. The world power, because of the Hebrews, because of Joseph, because he saved them all. He saved the Egyptians, he saved his family, he saved everybody, everybody in the land. And as we went through it, we saw how people kept on they had to bring things to trade to get food, and it got to where everybody was basically enslaved, and everything was given to Egypt from everywhere. So it was a pretty big thing, and for them to forget their history, I mean, that's pretty much what cursed this nation, is they forgot what God had done in the past. They forgot the Hebrews. They forgot the Jewish people, and decided they were too big and wanted to enslave them. So we need to remember. Okay, so let's see, where am I at? 39, and they baked the unleavened cakes of dough that they had brought out of Egypt, for it was not leavened, because they were thrust out of Egypt and could not wait, nor had they prepared any provisions for themselves. So I think that's specifically talking about that mixed multitude as well. Okay, so the time that the people of Israel lived in Egypt was 430 years. At the end of the 430, on that very day, all the hosts of the Lord went out from land of Egypt. It was a night of watching by the Lord to bring them out of the land of Egypt. So this same night is a night of watching kept to the Lord by all the people of Israel throughout their generations. Okay, in the 430, my buddy from Uganda brought that up when we were going through it a while ago. He was talking about the discrepancy with the 400, which was prophesied to be 400, but that was a generalization. I mean, you'll see that, especially when they're talking about prophecy, it's kind of a okay. It's going to be about, the numbers are going to. So it wasn't wrong. It was just a round number, basically. So we get the more exact number of it being at 430 years from the time of that. Okay, so institution of the Passover. And the Lord said to Moses and Aaron, this is the statute of the Passover. No foreigner shall eat of it, but every slave that is bought for money may eat of it after they have circumcised him. No foreigner or hired worker may eat of it. It shall be eaten in one house. You shall not take any of the flesh outside the house, and you shall not break any of its bones. Okay, why is that?
Is that anticipation of Christ?
Yeah.
And not any of his bones being broken.
Mm-hmm. All the congregation of Israel shall keep it. Of course, they wouldn't know all this. That's the great thing about it. It's like they don't even know exactly why a lot of this stuff is being told. You know what I mean? But now we can look back and we're like, oh, I see what you're doing. Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. You know what I mean? It's pretty cool. All right, so 47. All the congregation of Israel shall keep it. If a stranger shall sojourn with you and would keep the Passover to the Lord, let all his males be circumcised. Then he may come near and keep it. He shall be as a native of the land, but no uncircumcised person shall eat of it. There shall be one law for the native and for the stranger who just sojourns among you. Now, I want to point that out. I reiterate this a lot of times because I just think it needs to be emphasized, especially today, that Judaism, the Hebrew, God's people, has not ever been about race. I mean, yes, he started with Abraham, but it's always been open to anyone that wanted to come in and be part of the family of God, to be part of the chosen people. There was supposed to be a blessing to everyone, and anybody wanted to come in. And we saw instances like earlier with the Dinah situation when she was raped, and then they went and tricked them to get them all circumcised. So it was open for other nations to come in, other sojourners to come in and be part of the nation of Israel. Is what we'll call it later. But so this has always been open for that. And we're going through the book of Acts on my daily thing, my buddy from Uganda, and we're starting to see as we were walking through there, the early converts, to the way, early Christianity, in the very, very beginning of it, before Peter was told about opening up to the Gentiles, and then Paul came on the scene and started really teaching about the openness to the Gentiles. The early converts to the way, to Christianity, were converts to Judaism. They were required to go by the law. They were coming to be Jews, following Jesus, of course, but they were treated like Jews. So they were proselytes of Judaism before Peter had his little revelation from God with Cornelius and all, and before Paul came on. So, and then they had the council come together and all that, kind of say, okay, yeah, we don't really know what to do with this, but we're not going to require the Gentiles to get circumcised and everything else, and blah, blah, blah. Anyways, just want to point that out and reiterate that over and over again, that the real, not Judaism today. So, I mean, it's a little different today because it's morphed over the years, just like Christianity has with the church and everything else. We can go down that rabbit hole, but that's why we had the Reformation. But it was always open to other people to come in if they were willing to accept God, right, and accept His law. So, okay, so all the people of Israel did as the Lord commanded. Okay, blah, blah, blah. All right, so 13, consecration of the firstborn. The Lord said to Moses, "Consecrate to me all the firstborn." This is wild. Whatever is the first to open the womb among the people of Israel, both man and a beast, is mine. What does that mean?
It means women didn't count.
Yeah.
That was the customs in those days.
Yeah. Well, what is okay? Well, yeah. Besides the man thing, which you probably don't want to be part of this, actually, because this is the responsibility. The firstborn man is the Lord's. In Jewish custom, in this covenant with God, the firstborn male of everything is God's.
But they also were the ones to inherit everything also.
Yeah.
So that was kind of nice.
Yeah. But what that means is this is a sacrificial thing. Your firstborn child is given to the Lord. You understand the implication behind that? So we'll go further and see how it breaks down. Yeah, it's a sacrifice, and they'll actually have to pay a tax basically to get that child back. Basically, is kind of a transaction. It becomes a custom just to keep the child. But anyways, it's pretty interesting little command here. Then Moses said to the people, "Remember this day." Remember, very important. Remember this day in which you came out from Egypt, out of the house of slavery. For by a strong hand the Lord brought you out from this place. No leavened bread shall be eaten. Today is the month of Abib. You are going out, and when the Lord brings you into the land of the Canaanites, the Hittites, the Amorites, the Hivites, the Jebusites, the termites, I have to say that, sorry, which he swore to your fathers to give you, a land flowing with milk and honey. You shall keep this service in this month. 7 days you shall eat unleavened bread, and on the seventh day there shall be a feast to the Lord. Unleavened bread shall be eaten for 7 days. No leavened bread shall be seen with you, and no leaven shall be seen with you in all your territory. You shall tell your son on that day, it is because of what the Lord did for me when I come out of Egypt. Okay. Jewish custom even today with the really, strict, real practicing Jews and all, even Messianic Jews, they'll when they're doing the Passover, they still say this. And I love this I've learned this as I was going through this chapter with my online thing. And I was actually reading a Jewish commentary on this, along with other stuff. And evidently, this is what they tell their kids even today when they're doing this. They'll tell them, this is what God has done for me. They make it personal. When they're going through these stories, when they're recounting these stories, they make it personal. And I think that's something we need to, I think it's a great idea for us as well. When we're recounting these things of what God did, take it on as personal. This is what God's done for me, with the cross. It's like, this is what God's done for me. He did this act a long time ago, 2,000 years ago, but he did this for me, right? Me personally. He did this Passover moment for me, because they look at it as a personal thing in remembrance of what these great things, these great miracles, these great, all these plagues and all this stuff. Well, he did all this for me. And I just love that. I was like, oh, this is pretty awesome. They take it on as a personal thing. This is not what I did for my forefathers. This is not what they did for our family. This is not what they did for our race or whatever else. It's what he did for me. And that's, they're saying that to their children and impressing that this is what God did for me personally. So I really like that terminology.
Well, that's the only way you look at it if you're a believer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty. I mean, we do that with the cross, the cross, but like with these old things, it's like, okay, well, that's what God did in the past. We just kind of, that's what He did for the Hebrews, that's what He did for the Jews, or whatever. But we see how we connect all these things to all the way through to Jesus, and it's like we can say the same thing. Like, this is what God did for us. He did all of this to show us who Christ was when He came. So this is what God did for me. He told Pharaoh to let his people go, and then He hardened Pharaoh's heart on purpose to keep him stubborn, so that He could show His glory, so that He could do all these things and have this great Passover and save us from His own wrath. And that's one thing we need to really reiterate too, is like, what are we being saved from? I don't think we really think about that either. It's like, we're talking about being saved from being saved. Like, what are we being saved from? What does Jesus save us from?
Sin.
No.
No.
Doesn't save us from sin. We still sinning. Are you still sinning?
Yeah, but
I'm still sinning every day. What did He save me from sin?
Save us from hell.
He saves us from God's wrath. And it's a kind of a strange thing to think of, but that's what we're being saved from. We're being saved from God. In this Passover moment, God saving this people from Himself, from His own wrath.
And if you look at so many times in the Old Testament, I mean, man, just looking at the people, that for a while they would follow God and then they're falling into whatever, where they don't even care. They're worshiping all these false idols and these false gods and so forth. And after God has been so good and so perfect and over and over and over and over again forgiven them, it's no wonder that He would feel wrathful to sin, because that is so foreign to who God is. And so it's just the goodness of God that we're even alive and able to breathe and so forth. And it's so awesome that Jesus willingly came to earth and lived a life of rejection and all the things that we go through. He got tired. Did He ever get sick? I have no idea. But to live a life so that He could show people that just how much the Father loves us, and then to sacrifice His life. And so yeah. I mean, it's an awesome thing to see what all that God has done, and just to think about, how personally, as you were saying, He loves each and every one of us. And I actually worked for a Jewish man when I was 20, the best bosses I ever had. And I really don't know if he went through the different feasts and all of that, because it was near and dear to his heart, kind of what was expected in a way. When they would go out to eat, wish each other, happy fast, for 24 hours, and then they would come back and what all. But he was an awesomely wonderful man, and so kind to me and so forth. And he at that time, that was when The Passion was coming out, the movie. And so he and one of the other bosses was talking back and forth, about it and so forth. There was some interest there. But yeah, it blows your mind to think about how God can love us when we're so imperfect and so at times disobedient.
Yeah. And the sin thing wasn't wrong. Saving us from sin. I mean, but I just want to go a step further than that. The sin separates us from God, but it's His wrath, because we're separate. Because we're unholy, that we're being saved from. So I just wanted to key in on that. My daughter went to another church this morning. I thought she was coming. My oldest daughter. She went with a bunch of friends to one of those bigger growing, feel good grace churches this morning, and she left out of there and immediately called her mom and was like, "This place is a cult." So she was taking notes and all, evidently too, and she came home and we had over dinner today. We had a little conversation about it, about the different things. I even pulled up a sermon and all, but it was kind of diminishing the sin thing. It was diminishing, it was all about grace, all about the feel good, all about the hope and holler. It was great, great music, great energy, and she was even talking about this person that's sitting in front of this guy talking about saying, he kept on saying, preach, 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 preach. It was just over and over again, kept on. And she's like, well, he is. My daughter's very literal. She's like, he is preaching. Shut up. But anyways, I just think it's important. We really, not to try to put like a big guilt trip on ourselves or anything, because we are saved by the grace. But we need to know the importance of it. You know what I mean? The importance and the significance. I don't think a lot of times we get that significance of what we're really being saved from. What really, that we are not good. The world tells us we are good. We are not good. We can never be good enough. And it is only by God's sacrifice, the ultimate Passover lamb, that we are saved. Right? So that's what all this leads to. That's why this is so good. All right, so where are we at? And it shall be a sign to you on your hand, that's verse 9, and as a memorial between your eyes, that the law of the Lord may be in your mouth, for with a strong hand the Lord has brought you out of Egypt. All right, so and this also is another Jewish tradition thing, that they actually take these little boxes. I cannot remember the name of it. They take these little boxes with the scripture and all in it, and they bound it to their heads and their hands.
I think the Orthodox may still do that.
Yeah. So they still do that. They still do those things. So they took this literally, and they put it on the hands, and they put it on the head during this time for the young men. Between your eyes and on your hands. So they took this straight up literally.
It's interesting, isn't it, when you think about the mark of the beast, where it's supposed to go?
Yeah.
On your head and on your hands.
Yeah. Well, that's what God does. That's what Satan does. He takes things of God and just tweaks them. Just tweaks it a little bit. One of my biggest pet peeves in the world today is this universalist church, whatever. And I watch some of their sermons and things sometimes, or services, just to see. It's just like, because they're wearing the nice holy garbs. Of course, they got rainbows and all whatever on them, But they do a water communion. They have their own hymns that talk about themselves, basically.
That's cool.
It's a. But
that's the beginning of the one word.
It all looks like church. It looks like church. It feels like church. It gives people the feeling of community and fellowship, but without God.
Mm-hmm.
They may even read out of the Quran or the Bible or the Kabbalah or whatever, whatever they choose that day, and then their message is going to be about abortion or abortion rights and LGBT rights and evil Republicans or something like that. I'm serious. This is every few weeks I'll dive in and watch one of them just to see. I'm just like, it's so sad. So, anyways, verse 10: you shall therefore keep the statute at its appointed time from year to year. So we'll make this over and over again. When the Lord brings you into the land of the Canaanites, as he swore to you and your fathers, and shall give it to you, you shall set apart to the Lord all that first opens the womb. Okay? All the firstborns of your animals that are male shall be the Lord's. Every firstborn of any donkey you shall redeem with the lamb. Okay, so the donkey is unclean. That's why it needs to be redeemed with the lamb. Okay, so this is just a little insight on that. Or you will, or if you will not redeem it, you shall break its neck. So you can either just kill the first donkey that comes out, or you can redeem it with a lamb if you need that donkey. Every firstborn of the man among your sons you shall redeem. Okay, so there you go. Shall be redeemed because it belongs to the Lord. This is the firstborn son of your lineage belongs to God as payment. It's a payment for the Passover, right? And when in time to come, your son ask you, what does this mean? You shall say to him, by a strong hand, the Lord brought us out of Egypt from the house of slavery. For when Pharaoh stubbornly refused to let us go, the Lord killed all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, both the firstborn of man and the firstborn of animals. Therefore, I sacrifice to the Lord all the males that first opened the womb, but all the firstborn of my sons I redeem. So there has to be a redemption, a sacrifice, or it becomes a monetary thing later on. They actually, they still do it today. They'll take and give a certain amount of money to the temple or whatever. So it's pretty interesting. It shall be a mark on your hand or frontlets between your eyes, for by the strong hand the Lord brought us out of Egypt. It's pretty cool stuff. Oh, where did I go? Whoa. Where are we at? Because I lost my spot.
Right there.
Right there, 17?
Yeah.
Yeah. It just moves really quick sometimes. All right, so 17. When the Pharaoh let the people go, God did not lead them by the way of the land of the Philistines, although that was near. For God said, lest the people change their minds when they see war and return to Egypt. Okay, so he's protecting them. He's protecting them from danger, from having to fight. Because remember, they're coming out of slavery. They're not warriors. They're not trained battle guys and ready to fight anybody yet. But God led them around by the way of the wilderness toward the Red Sea, and the people of Israel went up out of the land of Egypt, equipped for battle. Moses took the bones of Joseph with him, for Joseph had made the sons of Israel solemnly swear, saying, God will surely visit you, and you shall carry up my bones with you from here. So he's keeping his promise to take Joseph's bones back home. And they moved on from Succoth and encamped at Etham on the edge of the wilderness. And the Lord went before them by day in a pillar of cloud to lead them along the way, and by night in a pillar of fire to give them light, that they might travel by day and by night. The pillar of cloud by day and a pillar of fire by night did not depart from before the people. And this lasted the entire time. They had this pillar thing. I mean, I just want to see what it really looked like. It's like, what is this? This is pretty wild. It had this
Tornado of fire.
Yeah. It's like it was a tornado. It was it's pretty. I mean, I don't know. It's pretty wild. Pretty wild yet.
I wonder if they had gone through the land of the Philistines, if that was a shorter way.
Yeah, it was a shorter way. Yeah.
But they weren't prepared.
But they weren't going nowhere anyways. They're just going to wander around anyway. So it's like, whatever.
They didn't actually travel, what was it, 11 miles?
Yeah, it wasn't very far.
40 years.
Yeah. Just going around in circles.
They had plenty of time.
I remember there was a tape that I got from Joyce Meyer that was called "This Mountain Looks Familiar."
Yeah. And that's where we are too sometimes. I mean, we would just be in that wilderness, just wandering around doing nothing, just like, what am I doing? I've had that wilderness time for a long
When I
time.
was a kid, went out back in the woods, just rode around in circles. Couldn't find my way out. After mom said, "Don't go back there," I'm like, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Let's get to the big crossing of the Red Sea. Then the Lord said to Moses, tell the people of Israel to turn back and encamp in front of Pi-hahiroth. between Migdol and the sea, in front of Baal-zephon. You shall encamp facing it by the sea, for the Pharaoh will say of all the people of Israel, they are wandering into the land. The wilderness has shut them in. And I will harden Pharaoh's heart, and he will pursue them, and I will get glory over Pharaoh and all the host. And the Egyptians shall know that I am the Lord. And they did so. Okay. When the king of Egypt was told that the people had fled, and the mind of Pharaoh and his servants was changed toward the people, and they said, "What is this we have done, that we have let Israel go from serving us?" Okay, let's just hang out there for a second. What are they saying here? What are they realizing?
Good. All of our people, now we gotta do everything ourselves.
They don't have any
All
workers.
the gold and all the riches.
We can kind of correlate that with like the American South.
Yeah.
You know, it's like when your whole structure is set up on the slave labor. I mean, you can't just quit. It's like, wait a minute, how are we going to function? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they just sent
Yeah,
them all
all
away.
their maid servants there, all of them gone.
I mean, and we'll find out later in a little bit that these people learned a lot. They weren't just slaves, like is just out there building things with the, of course they learned building how to build things. They weren't just all about their packing just stones. They were learning skills. They were learning things that they would not learn out there in the field being shepherds. God put them in this place with the most advanced culture in the world to learn, to grow. They learned technology. They learned how to weave and the fancy garments. They learned how to do metal craft and all this stuff. They learned all kinds of stuff that they would not have learned out there, being shepherds like they were when they first came, when the 70 first came in Goshen.
Yeah, what an idea. I never thought of that.
Yeah,
You're right.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see it. We'll see it later on when we're getting into the detail of what God's telling them to do and the intricacy of it. And you're like, where did they learn to do this? It's like, duh. This is all part of the growing up of their nation, is teaching them all these things.
Well, and then when Pharaoh got mad, as more and more of these things were done and these plagues that came upon them, they had to make the bricks then without straw. So that strengthened them because it was harder and they had to work harder. I mean, it's so amazing that there's a purpose behind everything.
There is, yes.
Not only that God does, but I think there's a purpose in everything, as long as it isn't sinful, that God allows us to go through it. He has a purpose, behind everything.
Well, even the sinful things. We saw in Genesis, what was it, 38? Is it 38? With Judah? Having his little thing with what's her name? What was her name? With his stepdaughter or his daughter-in-law. Remember that? His son, his son married her and then he died, and another son married her and then he died, and another son married her and he died, and then she ended up, playing the harlot and had this whole gross chapter. It's a disgusting chapter. It's just like, what? Why are we doing this? And the reason why you have to jump up in the New Testament and find out. Because the kid was Perez. One of the kids was in the lineage of Jesus.
And it's so amazing. People like Rahab, who was a harlot, was in the lineage of Jesus. And so many people will, look down upon someone. And I'm not saying that this is always the case, but you look at some pastors who may have had a season, of sin, and it's like, well, they don't deserve to ever have, any place in ministry again. But sometimes, they learn more through that, and they have a purpose. God never throws anybody away.
No,
I don't believe that. As long as their hearts are right and they are truly, sorrowful over their sin.
Yeah. So, good stuff. Good stuff. All right, where are we at? What time we got? 6:48. All right. Okay, so that's we figured out. They let our people go, and they're like, okay, what do we do? Our economy's shot. We ain't got no food. We ain't got. I mean, everything's destroyed. We're gonna starve to death. We have no workers to even restart with. So he made ready his chariot and took his army with him, and he took 600 chosen chariots and all the other chariots of Egypt with officers over all of them. And these chariots were actually a pretty new invention, evidently, at this time. It's kind of interesting little caveat, but they were evidently this was the height of advanced warfare. These chariots were a big deal. Very, very new technology. So, anyways. And the Lord hardened the heart of Pharaoh, the king of Egypt, and he pursued the people of Israel while the people of Israel were going out defiantly. The Egyptians pursued them and all the Pharaoh's horses and chariots and all his horsemen and his army and overtook them encamped at the sea by Pi-hahiroth, and in front of Baal-zephon. The Pharaoh drew near, and the people of Israel lifted up their eyes, and behold, the Egyptians were marching after them, and they feared greatly. And the people of Israel cried out to the Lord. They said to Moses, "Is it because there are no graves in Egypt?" I love this phrase. That you have taken us away to die in the wilderness? What have you done to us in bringing us out of Egypt?
Quickly they forget.
Do y'all get the significance of this phrase too? Do you get the significance of this phrase? Do you know anything about Egypt? What do we know about Egypt today?
They made them slaves.
What's the biggest thing we know about Egypt today? Besides, we got the pyramids,
Okay.
and what's the other thing you always see? When you think about Egypt, and think about archaeology of Egypt, what do we see? The tombs, the burial process, how they were
right, the embalming and all.
They were all into their graves. Like it's a big deal. That's why we have so much information on them, because they buried so much stuff and kept, meticulously kept these bodies, mummified and all that stuff, the mummies and stuff. So this is a smart butt remark from the Hebrews. It's a very Hebraic way of response. Is it because there's no graves in Egypt? I mean, it's comedic. It's supposed to be funny. It's that you have taken us away to die in the wilderness, Moses. Come on, man. There had plenty of graves back here. We could have died there and been okay. So why'd you bring us out of Egypt? It is not this what we said to you in Egypt? Leave us alone that we may serve the Egyptians. For it would have been better for us to serve the Egyptians than to die in the wilderness. And this, we've talked about before, is the reason why God had to do what he did in hardening Pharaoh's heart and causing all this stuff to go on, all these different plagues and all, to be able to force these people out, because they would not have gone willingly. This is that slave mentality that's going to have to die away in the wilderness, right? Before a new generation can come in without the slave mentality, right? Because just like we talked about the slaves here, we have that in our most recent, more recent history in the United States of the slaves here in the United States. When they were freed, most of them didn't leave the farm.
Right.
They stayed on because that's what they knew. They're freed. Okay, cool. Yeah, what are you going to do? This is all I know. Same thing with them. Okay, you're free to go. What do I do? I've been, in captivity for hundreds of years. I mean, we don't know how many hundreds when that shift came, but it's been a long while they've been in captivity. And they've been serving these people. And some of them are probably nice. Or, they're, especially the skilled labor guys. They're learning things and their families are taken care of. They're getting fed. Why would I leave? I don't know the outside. And we're the same way. When God tells you to do something, go out into the quote wilderness and do something, arise and go, which he says a million times. Most people are not going to get up and go because they're like, I'm comfortable here. You know what I mean?
And
Why
yet
would I?
there were those who went through the Underground Railroad in order to escape. So there were kind of two mentalities that were going on.
Yeah.
Plus, they had not been allowed to marry.
Mm-hmm.
They had not been allowed to have any education. And I think a lot of them still stayed and hopefully got a wage for it because they, really were no longer slaves. But it took time for Reconstruction and all that to happen. Mm-hmm. And the South was in a bad way for a long time.
Mm-hmm. So this is what I mean. That's the beauty of our, recent history compared to this, ancient history, is we can kind of see that mentality. We can see what's going on here. That these people are, justifiably like, they would not have gone if they weren't forced out. They would have stayed, and God had to make a way to force them out. He wanted his people out of there. Right. So he had to make a way to force them out and to bring the Messiah and everything else. So it's pretty awesome. So, and of course, we'll see over and over again. They're going to keep on complaining. And Moses said, verse 13, and Moses said to the people, fear not, stand firm and see the salvation of the Lord. From who? From the Lord, which he will work for you today. For the Egyptians whom you see today, you shall never see again. The Lord will fight for you, and you have only to be silent. All right, so that's a good memory verse right there. Oh, that's good stuff.
That'll work for us today, won't it?
Yeah, that'll work for that. Yes, it will. And the Lord said to Moses, why do you cry to me? Tell the people of Israel to go forward. Lift up your staff and stretch out your hand over the sea and divide it, that the people of Israel may go through the sea on the ground. Okay, this is an interesting thing. The Lord said to Moses, why do you cry to me? What's he saying here?
Because Moses didn't have no faith either.
Yeah. He's like, dude, haven't you seen all the things the power that I've given you in the staff, in this faith that you can have in me, and you're not using it? Why? Don't come to me. This is crunch time. This is not time to sit here and pray and call on me and cry to me. This is time to act.
But you think about it, between the devil and the deep blue sea. I mean, I'm sure Moses thought, what would you be able to do to save us at this point?
Mm-hmm.
I don't see any opening anyway.
Yeah.
Poor Moses.
Yeah. Oh boy. Okay, so I will harden the hearts of the Egyptians so that they shall go in after them, and I will get glory over Pharaoh and all his hosts, his chariots, his horsemen, and the Egyptians shall know that I am the Lord when I have gotten glory over Pharaoh, his chariots, and his horsemen. Then the angel of God, who was going before the host of Israel, moved and went behind them, and the pillar of cloud moved before them and stood behind them, coming between the host of Egypt and the host of Israel. And there was a cloud and the darkness, and it lit up the night without one coming near the other all night. Yeah, so he's confusing it, he's darkening it, is keeping them from getting to him. So he's protecting, he's answering, yeah, I'm going to protect you. So he's definitely protecting. And I'm going to have to go back and look at that. The angel of God. There's something else I wanted to add to that, but I can't remember what it was. Then Moses stretched out his hand over the sea, and the Lord drove the sea back by a strong east wind all night and made the sea dry land, and the waters were divided. Okay. Now we see in the movies, how's it happening in the movies and the cartoons and all? It just kind of goes. Okay, is that what it says?
No, it said that it took all night long.
Took all night. He used nature. He used the wind. He used his creation to make this happen. Which all these miracles, the same thing. It wasn't like some kind of just poof, 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 poof. he made the processes happen to make all these different things happen. It wasn't just some magic trick of going, ta-da! These walls are just all of a sudden created and blah, 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 like we see in the movies. This was an all-night process. He separated them, made them separate, kept them in their separate corners while the process took place, and the water is divided. So, pretty interesting little caveat there. And the people of Israel went into the midst of the sea on dry land, the waters being a wall to them on their right and on their left. The Egyptians pursued and went in after them into the midst of the sea. All Pharaoh's horses, his chariots, and his horsemen. And in the morning watched the Lord in the pillar of fire and of cloud, looked down on the Egyptian forces and threw the Egyptian forces into a panic, clogging their chariot wheels so that they drove heavily. And the Egyptians said, let us flee from before Israel, for the Lord fights for them against the Egyptians. Then the Lord said to Moses, stretch out your hand over the sea, that the water may come back upon the Egyptians, upon the chariots, and upon the horsemen. So Moses stretched out his hand over the sea, and the sea returned to its normal course when the morning appeared. Okay? So I don't know how long this took. I don't think it was an immediate crash. I'd like to think it was an immediate crash, just like bam, it's just a violent thing.
Well, it must have happened pretty quick.
It's pretty quick. Yeah, it's pretty quick. Well, it's also said they were getting stuck in the mud.
Yeah,
they were getting bogged down in the mud because of course, you let the water go up, and then you got a muddy, salty. Probably the chariots were against them. And those hooves getting down in there. Everybody else is walking on sandals.
Well, and I'm thinking it said they walked through on dry land, so it may have been, like the Bible said, totally dry when the Israelites walked through.
Yeah, and then they started seeping down.
Water began to kind of seep back in.
Mm-hmm.
That was going on with all those wheels twisting, and they couldn't do anything with them.
Yeah.
I'd love to sing
that. Yeah. Okay, where are we at? I'm going to do 28 again. And said the waters returned to and covered the chariots and the horsemen of all the hosts of Pharaoh that had followed them into the sea. Not one of them remained, but the people of Israel walked on dry ground through the sea, the waters being a wall to them on their right hand and on their left. Thus the Lord saved Israel that day from the hand of the Egyptians. Israel saw the Egyptians dead on the seashore. Israel saw the great power that the Lord used against the Egyptians. So the people feared the Lord, and they believed in the Lord and in his servant Moses. It's a key thing too. Yeah. So there's something else I wanted to add there too. Oh yeah, and it's speculated, which I see here, that Pharaoh died as well.
Mm-hmm.
Some people say they kind of question if he died as the Pharaoh this time, if he actually died. But he went in. He was headlong. He was leading the charge. He was in there. So I think the Pharaoh was also killed along with everybody else in this. The 600 chariots or whatever it was. Was it 600 or 6,000?
600.
600. Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, I guess we'll end with that.
Okay. Now we'll know next week. 15.
15 on the dot. We'll do the Song of Moses, which is very interesting as well. It's very interesting. Pretty cool stuff. So, very awesome. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Barbara. Bitch, you just keep dropping down. Your internet terrible still? Oh, she's on the phone. Go talk on the phone, girl.
Phone. She ain't talking to you.
She's on the phone. I don't hear you anyways. You got her
I
muted.
didn't hear the dog bark.
She's muted.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's close it up. And we'll get on with our night. Mother God, thank you. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
My
You there?
internet's gone out 5 times since I started this thing.
Well, I hope you got enough of it.
I did. I kept going back in.
All right, just keep plugging away.
Okay.
All right. Father God, just thank you for tonight, and thank you for our extra person tonight. We're growing by bounds. Lord, just thank you for your word and all that you teach us about you and our relationship with you, and just how amazing and awesome you are. So, Lord, just let us keep remembering that, and just keep that in the forefront of our minds as we go through this week. And we just love you, Lord, and praise your name. Amen. 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 All right, guys. Have a good night.
Good night, great lesson.
Yes, ma'am. Thank
Good
you.
night.
Good night.
You know, I think it's interesting. The church that I'll go to